In this world today, there are a lot of things that people need. Businesses, entrepreneurs, designers, people who just want to grow from one aspect of what they're doing to another. But there's always one defining factor that makes them leap apart, that leapfrog from wherever they're coming to where they're going to go. And that's strategy. Today, I'll be sharing my perspectives on strategic planning, the art of thinking, planning, dissecting consumers, understanding markets, and decoding people. I think if we get that right, we can always win. Let's talk strategy today. The world is in a flux. People need help, assistance, guidance, mentorship on the various things that happen around us. People need to learn how to do strategy. Strategy is one of the most abused terms in marketing. Today, I will take my time and decode the act of strategic planning, especially customized to marketers, agencies, entrepreneurs, and creative people in Nigeria. I think we need to understand how to dimension strategic planning across industries because it affects everything we do. If you don't have a great foundation, how else can you start building upon it? So tonight, let's talk strategy. There are 7 parameters of strategic planning. I call them my 7 rules of breaking boundaries. The first one is business. Yes, business. I always ask my clients, what business are you in? They smile. For example, if I was working with a food and beverage brand that produces water, I ask them, what business are you in? You see, of course, we quench tastes. Yes, that could seem right. But for the consumer, they look at you and say, what business do you think you are in? And I think therein lies the gaps and opportunities for you to innovate. For you to be able to dimension the business you're in, it helps the parameters across all of the 7 rules that I'm going to be talking about. If you understand the business that you're in, it helps exemplify your market, your customers, the kind of brands and products that you will be producing to connect with your future market. So I'm going to push that again to you. The art of strategic planning first starts with business. You need to be able to dimension industries, categories, sectors, and understand what are the different layers that lie in between. If you are working, for example, in a food and beverage company, you need to understand what is the business of this company, what markets are they targeting, what industry are they in, what sector are you catering to, what segment is your specialty. Those are the core parameters for even a dimension in business. And if you do this properly, then it helps you situate the context of who your competitors are. It helps you situate pricing elements. It helps you situate how you distribute, how you connect, how you create aspirations, and how to even develop a strong and viable business model that will make you win every time. Business is important, but one of the other key parameters that amplify the business you're in is understanding the market. Markets are so varied and many. Your business might be unique, but the market is where you play dirty and get down to try to create a distinctive role, especially for your customer. In the market, you start looking at competitive forces. What is your point of view in that market? Your brand needs to have a distinctive point of differentiation, a point of distinction that will make the market unique for itself. If you understand your business, then where you play in the market is easier and a lot easier to dimension. What markets do you want to cater to? How do you want to cater to them? What is your market today? And how will it evolve tomorrow? That is key to know. What is the value that you're bringing to that market? What is the proposition that the customers should connect to? How will this affect all of the parameters of the 4 Ps that we usually want to say in marketing? I have evolved from using the 4 Ps because I think it's not so much relevant again in today's marketing world, and that is true. If you're working with brands like Uber, Spotify, Google, and you want to situate them using those 4 Ps, you're going to fail woefully. If you're working with a digital firm, a digital brand, an ecosystem that needs progression, you need to be able to give it purpose. So I have what I call my own 4 Ps, taken from the humankind model. First of all, you need to situate what I call consumers as people. They are firstly people before they consume. Yes, that helps you understand the customer decision journey better, because you can plot all of the parameters where they do different things, where they connect, their weaknesses, their issues across the customer value chain. But firstly, as a person. The second is, once you've defined who they are, the next is, how do I give them purpose? How do I give them that platform that can enable, aspire for themselves? How do I get them to participate after I've given them purpose? Why should they participate in what I have to offer? How do I create a populism out of this thing? How do I make it become pop of culture? And those are the parameters that I use for exemplifying the marketing forces that will drive your brand to win in this market. Once you've defined the business, which is the first part of the art of strategic planning, then you do the second, which is market. And that's what I've just talked about. The third rule you should now get cognizant with is the customer. And that is very, very important. Who are you speaking to? Why are you speaking to them? Why should they listen to you? What difference are you bringing to them that they don't have? Do you understand their issues? Do you understand the things that influence them? What are the things that motivate them on a day-to-day basis? In fact, marketing is evolving only so much because the consumer has evolved and leapfrogged ahead of brands. So we're actually trying to go catch up with consumers. They set up trends in terms of the things they'll aspire and they like. In terms of understanding and situating their lifestyles, that's one of the key things that will make your brand stand out. To understand consumers, you need to understand trends. Trends is one of the most important components of strategic planning, and I teach it every day at this school. I lecture it to mentors, I proffer it and suggest it to clients, and I've always won and create innovation models because I do trend analysis, trend marketing, and decoding where the trends are going. It's not enough to look at trends and say, oh, this is pop of culture, this is cool, this is new now. No, that's not trends in terms of the marketing space. Trend is being able to understand where the current waves are going to. What is popping right now? Why is it popping today? And where will it go tomorrow? So there are different aspects of it. I use 3 elements to decode trends. Now, the now factor. Why is it trending now? What is going to happen next after it has trended? And why? Always find the rationale why something is pop of culture at a particular point in time within a certain period. But don't just jump onto the trend wave. The more important thing is understand where the origin is coming from. Who is setting off this trend wave? Why is it going in some pattern? Understand the patterns, understand the codes, understand the signals, understand the symbols. Once you do that, then you can be able to ride that trend wave to understand where it's going to next and how you can leverage it. Once you're able to leverage a trend, then it's best, then you can now give it a strong rationale and suite that you can use to connect with your customer. But more importantly, it's always the biggest thing, the coolest thing, if you kickstart your own trend wave, if you kickstart culture innovation, That is very hard for brands to do. But again, that is why you learn strategic planning. How could you start off your own trend wave so you become that cool thing that customers aspire and be to? How do you commercialize and leverage your trend wave? If you're able to break this down, then you're able to connect with the consumer so much more, because you become a part of their day-to-day patterns, their lifestyles, their journeys. But undercutting that trend wave gives you so much power and so much currency that will stand you out. Once you have a key role to play, then you give your brand purpose. You develop its point of differentiation and its point of uniqueness. What will my brand say, connect, sell, and tell this consumer? Then you start developing the creative forces of creating and building a brand. Brand development strategy is key, but you cannot create a brand and give it personality if you don't have or understand or decode trends and consumers. Once you've understood the business, the marketing aspect of it, the consumer, the brand, or its product, then you can start talking about communication. How do I communicate this brand's purpose? How do I communicate its points of uniqueness to this customer because I understand its journey? How do I connect with you? There are various forms of communication, various elements and various components, and each of them have their models for communication. We have advertising, PR, experiential marketing, social media, digital, influencers. You need to know the right model and form of communication. Otherwise, you'll be throwing everything into the bucket. Once you connect with the consumer by understanding the trend wave, then you're best able to apply the best form of marketing communication component. Yes, integrated marketing is cool, but you need to know what fits what. 360 is cool, but sometimes they don't necessarily apply. You need to understand the customer decision journey, what they want, when they want, how they want, and in what format they will do those things. That is communication in a very appropriate context. Context is key to communication. How you communicate to me in the morning should not be the same way you communicate to me in the evening, even if I am the same customer for your brand. Yes, the 3-month model of developing campaigns that stay 3 months, 2 years is gone. You need to create snackable content relevant to culture and context that will connect with me at my various means of that journey. If you don't, you're just creating noise. You're creating communication for yourself. Communication is key, but we need to get it right every time, all the time. Once you understand that communication model and how best to leverage culture to communicate to me, the best next thing to do is, what are the varied channel experiences I can do? I need to connect with that consumer by creating this form of context and messaging, but this is how I'm going to send it to him. So culture, context, and content is key. That is the best way to create experiences across channels. Once I do that component of channel experience, one other thing marketers will always love to do is, how do I measure? How do I verify? How do I evaluate? What is the return on investment? Those are the 7 rules of strategic planning. I'm going to be doing a summation of the art of strategic planning and taking all of the key 7 components that I've just discussed with you. The first one I shared was business. You need to understand the business that you're in. What are the outcomes right from the onset? Why do you want to create this business model? What are your employments of innovation? And why do you exist? The second component is marketing. You need to understand the competitive forces that you're going to be playing with. What is your edge of differentiation? Why do you think you will win in this market? Who are you connecting with? The third component, we talked about the consumer. Yes, understand them first as people. It's not all about consumption. They have their weaknesses, they have their issues, they have their crises. How do you play with them? Empathize with them across the customer decision journey. The fourth that we talked about was the brand. What is the brand's role in the life of the day-to-day consumer? What is the brand's point of view? Why should I connect with you in the first place? How do I participate with the consumer if you've created a unique distinction for your brand? What is your purpose for being? The fifth that we shared with you was about communication. If you understand the consumer, you understand trends, then you understand the formats of messaging that you're going to best use to connect with me. You need to understand the culture, contexts, and how relevant they play in. Content is a manifestation of what context play and how culture plays into that place. So culture, context, and content are relevant to developing communication. The sixth rule that we talked about was channel experience. How do you amplify these messages across channels? What mediums, formats are best used to connect with the customer? What kind of experiences do you think they will get? How do you create those platforms for them to best decipher, understand, and decode your messages? And the seventh rule, always measure, always evaluate, always monitor. You need to check what you're doing day in, day out. You need to evaluate trends. So you take in those learnings, those insights, and pour back in as you develop strategic planning. I hope with these 7 rules, you're able to start and kickstart your own journey, kickstart innovation, and make sure that you win. Let's talk strategy.